That's the one thing about a car, it's personalization. A car is like a house. Everybody wants to make it theirs and make it different. And nowadays, it's so hard because there's not much you can do to a car anymore.
Not too much. Yeah, it's true. As soon as you buy a car, you want to change it and be different than the rest.
Welcome to the episode of Jay Leno's Garage. Today we're featuring, well, future tech. I'll explain what that means in just a second. The vehicle today is a 2022 BMW iX. This is their all-electric with, this one has an amazing feature that's, well, you'll see it in just a second. You know, I've always been a fan of BMW. When I was a kid, I worked at a BMW dealership in the 2002, the TII. Those were all game changers. And I always felt BMW made the smoothest six-cylinder engine in history. I remember driving one of the coupes, a 1971. I was just stunned at how turbine-like it was. So I've always been a fan of this company, and they've always been on the cutting edge a bit. And this is really cutting edge. You'll see what I'm talking about in just a second. Let me bring in a gentleman to help explain it. Marcus Brandley. Marcus, come on in, my friend. Now, this is the BMW iX
Flow, featuring e-ink.
Featuring e-ink. Now, what is e-ink? Okay, well, we're going to find out in just a second. This is pretty amazing. Some people might think it's gimmicky, but you know, this is what's fun. I like it when companies take a chance on something that may or may not reach production, you don't know, but it just kind of gives you an idea. It's like when I was a kid, you would go to the Motorama shows and always be something in the future that was happening. Can we show them what we're talking about?
Yeah.
Can we make it do what it does here? So, take a look. Now, you'll notice this car is gray. Well, it's gray for right now. Let's see what happens. You know, that's pretty cool. I know. When I was a kid, in high school and college, I had something called a mood ring, and it would change, depending on your mood, it would change colors, you know, that kind of thing. And this sort of reminds me of that. But there is an application for this, really, when you think about it, because in the summer, especially in the heat of California in the desert, you could go to the white, and the white would absorb the heat, or I guess reflect the heat, right?
No, that's true. You can change the thermal properties.
Right, right. Yeah. And then in the wintertime, when it's cold, you would go to black, and the sun's rays would help have the car run.
Yeah, it would retain
cooler or warmer. Yeah. But I just like the fact that we don't know what we'd use it for, but we came up with it, and it's pretty cool. Now, explain to us how this works. It's electric in the paint, it's in the pigment.
Yes. Yes, so e-ink is not a new technology, but the application on a vehicle, that's a first.
Yeah.
So e-ink is a foil who in the middle, in the center of it, has millions of micro capsules, which within them, within a clear fluid, you have pigment, electrically charged pigment. And in this particular case of e-ink, which is a two-ink system, you have a white and a black. And by using the correspondent electric field, you will manage to get the corresponding ink particle to the surface of this, or to the top of this microscopic sphere, and hence you'll see the color. So you have from black to white and all the shades of gray in between.
Now, I remember, a number of years ago, a couple of manufacturers had paint that appeared to be different colors and different lights. So you walk around, it's blue, and you come around, it seems, but that was just the paint pigment. That was not this.
No, this is entirely new. This is not a projection or anything like that. This is the actual pigment which changes within the microfilm, within the e-ink film.
Okay, so this is an electric car. So I'm going down the road, and let's say I get 300 miles, maybe 50 miles, but I'm changing the pigment constantly. Do I lose, or I guess what I'm saying is, how much electricity does this draw?
It's near nothing. It's near nothing. Yeah, it's neglectable. And once it reaches a certain state, for instance, it remains black or white or whatever state you turn it off in, there is no consumption of electricity at all.
Oh, so it remains, it doesn't need a constant influx of electricity to keep it the color that it is?
No, not at all.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah.
So it's electricity without heat, isn't it?
Yeah, no heat. No heat is generated.
Yeah, that's I mean, that's pretty amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I remember when I was a kid, a real little kid, we had a science fair, and I remember some scientist came and said, the first one of you that can develop electricity that doesn't make heat, oh, you're going to be a gazillionaire, you know.
Yeah.
And we all went home and tried to figure out how to have cold light, you know, that type of thing. But yeah, it's pretty amazing. So I run my hand over it, and I can't feel it.
Yeah.
Are there actually like wires or?
There's nothing wires you can feel off.
Right.
What actually, the top layer is a clear film just to protect the e-ink from the environment.
Right.
But the film itself is smooth.
Interesting. Now this is developed at BMW?
The conception of this vehicle is the brainchild of Dr. Stella Clark. And she is a research engineer out of Munich. And she came across e-ink and envisioned this two-dimensional material used in e-readers and such on a vehicle, on a BMW product. And with quite a bit of prototyping and trial and error, they figured out a way to wrap this entire vehicle, panel by panel, section by section, in e-ink.
Now I imagine for a military application, you could be camouflage for the desert, you could be different shades of green for a jungle environment. So there's a general, I mean, there's a real sort of use for it, not just the gimmicky, I want to be.
Yeah, definitely. You could tie it to battery status. You could buy to have it blink if you're in a humongous parking lot and you don't know where your car is anymore.
Right.
You know, there's a myriad of creative things you can do with this car.
Now I noticed the wheels also are changing.
Yes, they do.
So obviously, it's a wireless induction there, right?
That's right.
Yeah, there's no obviously a wire to the wheel. It would be
Well, no, that's correct. It is wired. I mean, it is wired, but the battery pack on the wheels are in the wheels.
Right.
So that's where the power comes from.
Okay.
So we charge the battery pack for a little bit and get to have the wheels show their own display.
So right now, this is not available to the consumer?
Not yet. This is still in development. This is straight out of prototyping, and what the future development of this technology is not yet clear. It's just right now it's the wow effect.
Well, I would just like to have been there when you go to the German bosses. I remember when the Germans resisted cup holders. Remember? Why would you want a cup? Why are you drinking while driving the car? This makes no sense. You know. I remember back when Mercedes would not put a cup holder, and then when they did come up with a cup holder, it was one of the. It was like the most complicated cup holder. It went this way and went around and grabbed the cup. You know. So I like the free thinking aspect of it. I like the fact that it's a non-automotive technology. Put into automotive, you know, it's fascinating.
I think BMW puts a lot of emphasis in innovation, in artistic expression. The whole entire experience of driving a BMW car.
Yeah, well, I remember BMW was the first one, maybe not the first, one of the first to do art cars. You remember back in the 70s, they gave them to like Andy Warhol and paint a BMW, whatever. Yeah. So it's interesting to see the expression. I mean, it sounds silly until you see it, and then you go, wow, this is actually pretty cool. And I can see the military application also. It's funny, you forget what color your car is, and you're in your parking lot looking for a white car, and you go, no, the car's black today. Oh, it's black today, that's right. Interesting. So now tell me about the car itself. Brand new platform, ground up, from the ground up rather, designed as an electric vehicle. Correct?
Right. That's the first one since the i3.
Right. Correct. And range is what, about 300 miles, something like that?
Depending on what battery pack you have, but it's around 300 miles, yes.
Okay. And how are you controlling it? You controlling the chain using your iPhone?
Right. With the iPhone, you can control the different patterns which were programmed into this project. So from simply black and white on off to the color flowing over the vehicle.
Is it hooked to the interior also, or just the exterior for now?
Yeah, for right now, it's just the exterior in this particular vehicle. But of course, the possibilities are endless and could be used in interior as well. And also the wheels, I can do a little bit of an acceleration. A visual acceleration.
Can you make it a two-tone as well?
Two-tone, no, it's not programmed for a two-tone. I think the closest one to two-tone.
I thought I saw that before, a dark roof and a light body, or vice versa.
Yeah, it has sections.
Yeah, and can it do it on the fly?
Yeah, on the fly, meaning when you drive?
When you're driving, yeah.
Yeah,
oh.
I mean, as long as you have the iPhone with you, because I mean, you have a master switch for the body, which you turn the animation on or off.
Right.
But if you want to program it on the fly, using your iPhone while you drive, you could do it, but you maybe not supposed to, I don't know.
I wonder if there are any legal implications there. You know, you have a BMW and it says the registration is black and you can pull it by the cops and now it's white.
Yeah, it could be advantageous.
I wonder how that works. Or a cop's chasing you and you just flick to a different color.
Yes.
yeah, very cool. So this is essentially a sport utility vehicle.
Yes.
Although it's fast, it's not a high performance car. It's meant to be family vehicle. It's about the size of what, X5?
Yeah, I mean I think technically a sports activity vehicle.
Sports activity vehicle. That's right.
And yeah, it's a very roomy car.
Dual motor, single motor?
A dual motor.
Dual motor, okay. And you've got approximately how much horsepower?
Just a bit over 500.
About 500. So 0 to 60 around 4 seconds, something like that.
A little over, just a dab over 4 seconds.
Well, certainly quick enough.
Oh yeah, it's awfully quick. I mean, and plus you have no sound. I mean, it just takes off, and it's plenty quick.
And do you have a trunk area here as well?
No, that's not a trunk. That's pretty much where it's a lot of electronics.
Electronics.
And,
okay.
So,
how much space does this ink system take up? Is it like the pack of a cigarette, like the size of a pack of cigarettes? Is it a good size?
Near nothing.
Yeah.
There's a few modules in there. It draws off the vehicle battery. So really nothing. There's a bit of wiring going on.
Right.
Which also, if it were a production car, you wouldn't see it at all. There's no additional weight or additional bulky material.
But it's almost, it's not automotive in the sense that you could have this as wall art in your house.
You could, but the challenge they had to overcome is exactly that. They had to find a way to take a two-dimensional plane, which e-ink is, and apply it to a three-dimensional surface.
Right.
And there's nothing straight on this or any vehicle.
Yeah.
So it was a fairly complex process, which took them a long time to install this e-ink onto this vehicle. Because e-ink is roughly the thickness of a thin cardboard or a heavy paper.
Right.
And it doesn't stretch or give, like for instance, a vinyl wrap would. You can't pull it over a curve. So they went through a very, very elaborate process to have each individual section custom made and each individual panel custom made through computer-aided design and using special algorithms to make it fit, to give it the perfect fit.
Now you just revealed this, it's about a month ago, right, I think?
Yes, it had its premiere at Consumer Electronics Show in Las Vegas.
Right.
Yeah.
So what's the reaction to people? Comments are good, are they overwhelmed by it, they don't understand it, they want to have it on their car, what is the...
In general, it's been an overwhelming response, because the effect is quite cool. So when you first see it, it's mind-boggling because it's how is it done, and you see it.
That's what's interesting. Yeah. We live in an era now where cars are so complex you can't really modify the performance aspect of the car because electric cars are fast anyway.
Yes.
So you have to go to other things. So to personalize your car. This is how you would do it. You would change the color or put it whatever you want.
And then I think this is just the beginning of it. But it is, the reception has been overwhelming.
Now, right now, you're limited to just black and white. For example, are reds impossible to do, or is it just a matter of...
It's not impossible. In fact, it does exist. E-ink does come in multiple colors, but they chose a two-ink system because maybe, I mean, I'm guessing, because the design and the effect of this vehicle with the e-ink is so overwhelming and exciting that adding additional color may not enhance the effect. And maybe a certain understatement would be preferable to the all-over experience.
Does it add any more weight or complexity, additional colors?
No,
or is it just a matter of
it's
software?
just additional colors within those micro capsules.
I see.
And so it would be any different. It'd be probably a little more difficult to program and so on. But
so one day you could have almost a rainbow effect. You could go.
I'm not sure what the implications will be. But that may be something they consider in the future.
Now, obviously, this is a prototype, so there are some wires and things.
Yes,
here.
well, it's an e-ink prototype. The vehicle below it is production.
Right. Okay. But this is this curved dash here, or the screen. That's new. That's unique to
yes,
this model.
that you will find in all iX vehicles.
Oh, yeah. Plenty of leg room, which is kind of why you get an electric car.
Yeah, it's very spacious.
See, one day this may apply to humans. I could go from denim to tuxedo. You see, and just without having to change my clothes. That would be fantastic. Because if you watch this program, you know I never change my clothes. But imagine if I could just be in a tuxedo, and say, or a mankini or something. Yeah, that would be fantastic. Well, let's take it for a ride and change colors out on the road. See how it looks going down the street. You know, it's so funny when you say 0 to 60 in about 4 seconds and some change. It almost seems like, oh, we used to electric cars that are like under 2 seconds.
Yeah,
it's gotten so crazy.
It's true.
You realize this is a SUV, or what do you call it? Sport utility.
A sport activity vehicle. Yeah.
Is that SAV?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
That's funny.
Yeah, I mean, it's awfully quick when you step on it.
Yeah, I mean, you can. Oh, yeah, it does. It's got some torque. Yeah.
And there's even faster a vehicle coming out, the iX60M.
Yeah.
So that's.
But acceleration is good. Look at that.
Whoa. Yeah, it's quite a kick and no noise.
And it's amazing how fast electrification has come.
Yeah.
I mean, 10 years ago, nobody would have predicted by 25 or 26, almost everything would be electric. It seems like it would be very expensive to do in a production car, wouldn't it?
Well, it's hard to say how much, well, to put a dollar amount on it.
Yeah.
I mean, the e-ink concept is still straight out of prototyping.
Right.
And how it would, how it would be determined, how much it's going to cost or how it's going to be produced on a mass level.
But I can remember when they said that about anti-lock brakes, you know.
Oh, okay.
Oh, yeah, but no, but someday it'll filter down, but no, not really. Because remember, it was on Lincoln and Cadillac or Mercedes-Benz before it got down to sort of everyday cars.
Oh, yeah.
But if you're an extrovert, if you're like a big-time rapper or something, this is better than a rap.
Oh,
because
definitely.
you can change color. And
It's the rap for the rapper.
yeah, and some people would time it to a musical beat, you know.
You could. I guess you could.
Yeah, you could do that. So it seems like the possibilities are endless.
Yeah.
Endless. I mean, that's the one thing about a car. It's personalization. A car is like a house. Everybody wants to make it theirs and make it different. And nowadays, it's so hard because there's not much you can do to a car anymore.
Not too much. Yeah, it's true. As soon as you buy a car, you want to change it and be different than the rest.
And in Germany, they're very strict. You
Very strict.
You can't change anything on the car.
Yeah, Switzerland is even worse. I mean, you can literally change nothing.
Right.
And you have to bring the vehicles to some sort of a police check every few years.
Right, and you can't even change from the brand of tires that came on the car.
No.
I'm told the German.
Maybe even now that. Yeah.
I
I mean, it is pretty specific, the tires to the
right.
But rims, unless they're registered and
right.
certainly not body parts. It's difficult. But I mean, it's also difficult to make an improvement on this because they do come pretty figured out already.
Right, right.
Yeah, customization, that's a very American thing.
Yeah, it is,
Yeah,
isn't it?
yeah.
It's amazing even the wheels change as well.
Yeah. Yeah, it's programmed separately. It's got the battery pack inside the hub.
Now, you wouldn't call them wires in the paint, correct? What would you call it? Modules? Is that what you call it?
Microcapsules.
Microcapsules.
Yeah, microcapsules.
Okay.
Millions of microcapsules in.
But are they strung to? Are they like on a? Because I can see when you get right up to the paint, you can see a bit of a line.
It is the way it works. It has. It's the microcapsules are kind of sandwiched between two layers of electrodes.
Right.
And the current is applied to those electrodes, and that influences or makes the particles inside the microcapsule not change the polarity, but attract the polarity of the charged ink particle.
And it uses about the same amount of power as like a little LED light, right?
Yeah. It
like
uses,
one Christmas light, something like that.
Well, yeah, it's minute. It's a minute amount of power.
Right.
And if it's in a solid state, in a state where there's no change, there's no power use at all.
I imagine the biggest problem with vehicles like this is just getting people to read the owner's manual to understand how things work.
It's true.
You know,
it's
most
true.
people expect their car to be intuitive. You get in and you press a button, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, I drive modern cars now. I don't think about turning on the radio until the car's moving.
Yeah.
Now, let me turn up. I literally have to pull over, get out the manual.
Yeah.
I just want to turn on the radio.
Yeah.
You know?
I mean, it may also be a little bit of a generational thing. This is maybe for the iPhone generation.
Right,
I mean,
yeah.
When my son looks at it, he's flying through those applications at top speed.
Yeah, right.
But it has a great feature which helps guys like us to get what you want. You can actually press the microphone and ask it to do certain things.
Right.
So a radio station, for instance.
Right.
A direction. So that helps.
Well, that's what always amazed me, because you go, call Bob Johnson.
Yeah.
Colucci's Pizza? No, it's not even close. How do you get? Give me Larry Johnson, all right. But how do you get Colucci's Pizza from Bob Johnson?
Yeah.
You know?
No, it's true. In the morning, actually, I spoke your address, the address of your garage, into the microphone, and it gave me some address in out of state. So it happens, but I think you also get used to it, how to address it.
I mean, you have a lot of companies now where their electric range is outselling their gas range. I think the Porsche Taycan I know it's outselling the 911. It's hard to believe, isn't it?
Yeah. I mean, it's very attractive to own an electric vehicle. I mean, I think range anxiety is still one of the top issues, but it's catching up. I mean, the range is getting further and further.
Yeah, I mean, I live in a situation where I don't really drive hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of miles a day. I'll drive maybe 150 miles running all over LA. They plug it at night, and then they have, quote, a full tank of electricity.
Right,
again, you know?
right. Yeah, we run a program called American Customer Usage, and the average American apparently drives about 40 miles a day.
Right, that's about right.
But it's nice to be able to drive 100 miles if you want to, and not to be restricted.
It's so funny, the paint, the ink has overshadowed the whole car.
Yes, it's true.
Because, you know, suddenly electric cars are not a new thing anymore.
Yeah.
You know, so you kind of go, oh, okay. But now you've got something that's, I wouldn't call it a gimmick, I'd call it just fascinating technology. Or future tech, I guess it's future technology.
Yeah. I mean, it's true, you have this incredible technology in this vehicle, and you have an artistic coat over it, and that's what dominates at the moment. Which it's a nice combination at the same time.
Yeah. You get back to Switzerland very often?
Not so much anymore.
Yeah.
I've been here now 40 years, and
40.
Yeah, a long time. Yeah. I came a long time ago. Actually, I came. Funny enough, it's cars that kept me here.
Yeah.
Because back then you had recycler and photo buys.
Oh yeah.
And once I opened one of those and saw these these Jaguar E-Types and Fossil Vegas and so for sale for next to nothing.
I know.
It was unbelievable.
And in Switzerland, you can't have a car like that.
Yeah, anything more than 20 years is rusted to bits.
Yeah.
And plus the export numbers back in the 60s were targeted much more towards Southern California.
Right. Well, Marcus, thank you very much for bringing this to us. It's great to see.
No problem.
And it's fun. I don't know whether this will catch on or whether it'll be a thing, but it's fun to see it in its prototype stage.
Yeah.
Thank you, my friend.
No, thank you. It's great.
You.
It's been great.
See you guys next week.
Yeah, sounds good.
Mm-hmm.